Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss about the creation of first spores which were responsible for asexual reproduction to seeds which are responsible for sexual reproduction. This is something which was seen in nature, formation of atom, element, molecule compounds, and how these compounds turn into seeds from mineral kingdom to plant kingdom. This is next stage in plant kingdom, from asexual to sexual reproduction, and then move on to understand the entire universe step by step. This entire series from 12th October 2024 is meant to be a new sequence for Mahagranth, everything sequenced from the beginning till today as we know of. Now, I am making one thing very clear. This particular land called Akhand Bharat, I also call it Sindhu Rashtra. This is surrounded by Sindhu on all the four sides. Its creation on the east is from Himalayas, Mount Kailash, Mansarovar Lake. Then it goes towards north, Uttaravani, to Ladakh, and that is the northern end, or Uttar Bharat. First was Pura Bharat. Then it moves to the west, Paschim, and turns into 7 Sindhu rivers, and that's why explains how it starts from Himalayas, the mountain, how water turns, how water can move up against the gravity, then come down and convert into 7 stages to get into Arabian Sea is the northern part. And I come from state of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and I make it clear, Ladakh is an inclusive part of Jammu and Kashmir from the very beginning. It is not a part of anything other than India. Let that be clear. From there I have come to south. Now I represent South India, Dakshin Bharat, Tamil Nadu, which comes right up to Kanyakumari, where Mata Vaishno Devi was born, and she has come from there to Katra, and that's where I was born, and I come back to where she had taken birth. And it is surrounded by water on 3 seas, Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal and Sindhu Mahasagar, and that's the land which is called Sindhu Rashtra or Akhand Bharat, and this is a source of spiritual science to the world from the beginning till today, will continue to be tomorrow, because it's only fertile land which can produce agriculture to the full, all the basic foundation needs of every human being who is going to be pure vegetarian, and everything from Kamadhenu to other thing is available, is very conducive for spiritual evolution. There is no need for anybody to subscribe to anything which is unnatural, and I am a living example of that. Pure vegetarian, have no habits of alcohol, drinks or drugs or anything whatsoever. With only the agriculture produced in this particular great land from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, I have been able to get all what I need to keep myself physically healthy, emotionally stable, mentally powerful, spiritually integrated, and one with the entire universe as the custodian of Lok Palan, which Upanishads talk about of the human being. And with that Mahagranth I am talking about is going to be longer, doesn't matter. If somebody is interested in understanding the sequence without missing link, would be really very beneficial. We are having a sectarian knowledge which is confusing. We do not know how the evolution started from 0 to present state of mathematics or other things. I am just trying to explain before creation from 0 to this level how we have moved on. Next, as I have been saying very clearly, my mission is the impeccable wisdom, knowing which everything is fully known. And I make one thing very clear, I am talking about the core issues, central issues which are perfect in every way. I am not talking about divergent, peripheral, relative world which is confusing. I am not getting confused in that. I am only talking about impeccable wisdom of the central core which is perfect with DIVYANK. My greatest discovery seeking for the perfection from my childhood, as a student, and I continue to be a student today, and whatever I'm sharing only as a student. And I'm just enjoying sharing the sequence, improve step by step. So finally we have a document from zero level to the ultimate level, infinity, step by step, as unfolded by divine nature. This is a spiritual scientism. And in that context, my greatest discovery is DIVYANK, which I recognize, conceived and revealed for the first time in the history of mankind in 2014 and 15 only. And now with the light of DIVYANK, which is a perfect divine design of nature, which is the perfect object of the entire universe created, and I'm showing those perfect objects and saying this is what we need. We do not need to talk about diseased models or defect models. And that has been my 60 to 70 years of education to come to this level of understanding, and that is what I call is real education, integrated education. That is enlightening, and that is empowering, and that empowering wisdom of DIVYANK and Akhandata, I am moving on to create a new document. Let everybody have the courage to listen to the same thing again and again, because every time I talk, there is going to be some point which I have not spoken earlier. I am making it very clear. As I realize, I start listening, and I am doing it, work is my Atma's, not mine. I am only an instrument. But as I talk, it's not me who's talking about. It is my Atma is talking about. This is one who the universal consciousness from the very beginning. And in the process which I know, I'm going to add slides as we move on. They're going to be improvisation over a period. In the beginning, I would explain the slide in the beginning of it, but subsequently it will be like a statement, a poem, and which will be just mentioned, shown that which you can read it at leisure if you want to go, or go back to the old one. That's it. Now, the first thing on this spiritual journey, the first symbol which I made on the behest of my Antaratma, my Kundalini, was this symbol which I call Gayatri, which is recorded as a copyright, a trademark in my name from 1995-96 itself. And this is a subject which made me realize how beautiful is the science. And from this symbol, I have gone on to the next symbol of Akhand, and you can see the same thing right in this particular thing. There's nothing has changed. As I learned from 1995 to 2015, when DIVYANK was done, these 20 years, what I learned about spiritual science on the whole thing, I learned about mathematics, I relearned about physics, chemistry, biology, and all the 64 arts. And all the information of the entire universe is present in this, which I call Akhand. That was called Gayatri, this is Akhand. This is symbol of integration in totality. That's it. Now I'm going to talk about another symbol which means DIVYANK has also to be converted into mathematical design. First was a graphic presentation of Gayatri Mantra, which turned out to be Dattatreya and Gayatri symbolism to Akhand in totality. But in that you have 10 centers of consciousness, or the mathematical design which I came to realize in 2014 and 15 is converted into symbolic represent this form. The outer one is 22 by 21. Then you have 10 pentagons which represent 10 stages of development, and then 5 tetragons right in the middle, 0.34419, and then the ratio of 1.618034. This is the wisdom which with I am now moving on to go, that we have to have language which is free from the problems of words. We have inadequate number of letters in all the languages, and I am not singling out any language. Everything is inadequate, not enough to express everything completely. Let me be everybody. I am not naming anything. But only mathematics can have a perfect one. Then mathematics has to be converted into symbolic representation to have a complete meaning. This particular symbol are the earlier two symbols. I can use it to write 1 page abstract, 10 pages compact, 100 pages book, 1000 pages book, even 10,000 pages Mahagranth, just one symbol alone. There is so much of wisdom in this, which is there. I don't have to imagine. I just take small parts of it and to show you. You'll be amazed, and that is what is going to be done through my series of Akhandata, which I am talking about, a Mahagranth, completely from before creation till today, all with a language of mathematics and symbols, Ganit Vidya, Yantra Vidya, and Tantra Vidya. And of course, the words I would put it as a Mantra Vidya. They connect it with the mind. So all the four are going to be like that. Now, the greatest mystery which I have found to start with, let's start with the abstract science and coming to the fundamental explanations of the science of the modern world. Now we are coming to one side. You are seeing the periodic table right at the bottom, but there is something which is going to be understood from here to see how the creation started thereafter. There is another symbol right on top, this is symbol down, but in between there are another 4 symbols. But of course, forget about the symbols which are there in the template. Now let's go to the right hand top symbol, which says that atom elements which are there in periodic table, the size reduces from left to the right. Say, as I've shown in the top, hydrogen is the first which is connected with Sun and Aditya on top. The size is bigger than helium-4, which is there inside. Hydrogen has got 1 electron, 1 proton only. But here you have 4. But the size is smaller. Why the size is smaller, I have already explained, is because all the elements which are going out in hydrogen, which give you actually the movement of 22 by 21, is made into graphic of 20, and then they are focused right at the middle with the center. When they are focused only at the center, they are not going out. Size reduces. And this is what modern science has found to be true, and I am explaining that this is the beauty of that one side. But on the other side, as far as periodic tables are concerned, you can see there are 7 periodic tables on this side, which shows like everything is made of 7 parts. But in the picture on top, you see only 5, you do not see 7. Why 7? 5 only are seen on this side and 8 on the other side. It's also in a mathematical design of DIVYANK. 8 divided by 5 is equal to 1.618034. But 5 is important because these are visible. The last 6 and 7 in periodic table is too invisible for a common perception even by the greatest scientist itself. They are very inconsistent. But little something which could be seen is xenon, which is the 5th one. Then krypton, 4th one. Those twos are Nirankar, Niragun Brahman to Sakar Sarkun Brahman, which is the foundation, but not the creation by and large. 7 are there, 2 are not seen. 2 are seen as invisible and Prataksh, but 3 are the ones which actually take part in the whole concept. Starting from hydrogen to helium to the 2nd and 3rd are the ones which play important role. But 4th and 5th, right up to neon to iodine 53, has a role in the physical body. So 5 can be seen within body, but beyond that cannot be seen in the physical body. Last one is iodine, which is 53rd. That's it. Now, the 3 things which are important are helium, which is indwelling soul of the human being, which has been responsible for giving me experience of my physical body. atoms, element, molecule, compounds, and structure, anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, psychology of the human body is the one wisdom given by my indwelling soul, helium 4, which I call Aditi, Kundalini, Antaratma. The one which gave you the knowledge of the solar system and spiral galaxy is Neon 21. I have already explained. We are going to see that also as one move on. And the one which gave me the universe as such creation is Adi Prashakti, which is organ 40. So 1 into 3 is the first thing which stands out. So Trinity is the one which comes from 1 to 3. That's it as far as manifestation of spiritual science is concerned. Now, as I have told you, prime objective of human life are the things which have been enumerated in this. I am not repeating here because otherwise it's going to become very difficult. And second, the reasons for failure also I have written in this. You can read it leisurely as you move on. No repetition hereafter. It is our ignorance, inertia which is responsible, and we need to find the impeccable wisdom. Then come to the something which is very, very important to me is this particular statement from Holy Gita, which means do your karma to the best of ability without worrying about fruits, and continue to do work for the love if you want to be with universal consciousness is this. Then this real knowledge education is something which I really respond. Hitopadesh Vidya Dadati Vinyam Vinyat. The impeccable wisdom gives you the humility, make you the casteless society. When put together, work together, there will be abundance of money, prosperity, righteousness for the entire universe. This is the greatest thing which is based on education, which shows the first one is Karma Yoga, second is Jnana Yoga. These are the two foundations of my life which have brought me to this level. I have to have action for perfection and then knowledge for perfection. These are the two things which have made a difference to me ever since my childhood, within 7 years of my life itself. Then I've been making one thing very clear. The first 7 years of your life, you should not be exposed to any knowledge at all. Your brain should be allowed to develop to the optimum level and let your Antaratma teach you, not anybody else. And first 7 years, if you do not listen to somebody else, nobody teaches you to remember something, you are allowed to see. Your Atma is going to teach you impeccable wisdom. That is my experience of 7 years. I've learnt everything from my Atma, nothing other than that. And this is a symbol. These are the two things which I learnt when I was a child. The third thing which I learnt was Mata Vaishno Devi. Trikuta mountain and Mata Vaishno Devi taught me that everything is made of three. Then come to the question of Amarnath, taught me the water is important. This consists of 5 elements. It has got Akash Kosh, Vayu Kosh, you have Agni Kosh, you have Antariksh as well as that. Or you have all the 5 bhutas. Akash Bhuta, Vayu Bhuta, Agni Bhuta, Jal Bhuta and Brihvi Bhuta. All I learnt from this. The next stage is Martan Surya temple and that pond which had a fish, and the land of that land is designed with DIVYANK alone. Length and breadth is in that form, and first vertebrate to play an important role is the fish, is what you see in that particular thing. That whole vertebrate or Dasavatara I learned there. So this was the learning of that thing, subconsciously, without anybody telling, just observing things, and my Atma telling me about all that one by one has given me the perfect knowledge of impeccable wisdom these 7 years. Then thereafter, looking at what I was taught was much easier to find that everything was taught to me was defective. No wonder I learnt, rectified. As a result, my academic performance for school, college, university to till today has only improved because it's led by my indwelling soul, Aditi, Gayatri and Adi Prashakti gave me the entire wisdom that at the end it is only DIVYANK, nothing other than that. And that is what I am talking about. Now, as I told you, the essence of everything came to DIVYANK, but of course, it was first recognized, conceived, and revealed over a period of more than 60 years of tapasya. But having done that, now in the light of DIVYANK, I am going to explain important wisdom of the entire universe as impeccable wisdom only with DIVYANK, from beginning to the present status, in the light of mathematics and symbols alone. I am being very specific. Now it is mathematics which is conclusive. These are symbol which is only one, which has no ambiguity of any nature at all. You are going to see hereafter. The next stage, as I told you, it was the Atma which gave me that, and the description of Atma as given in Akhand Bharat or Sanatan Dharma or Sindhu Rashtra is given in this. You can read it leisurely. Then another important part, many people believe the mathematics zero came later by Aryabhatta or Brahmagupta, and I say zero was known in Rig Veda from the very beginning itself, more than 10,000 before the Srishti came. Rig Veda itself talked about it as a Shunya, as a Atma, to the core of everything. So I'm making one thing clear. It is Atma which is Shunya. This is empty, but that is zero, and that is where everything came from. All other numbers have come only from zero, only come from Shunya, only come from Atma. So core is Atma, which is Shunya, which is zero. That's the beginning of entire mathematics and symbolic language as a dot. That is the starting point of the universal consciousness, as I see. Now, in the light of that, we are going to see how it improvised the numeral designs thereafter. As I told you, Genesis cube numbers started from 0, as you can see right on top. Then came 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. These are 12 numbers which arose, and these things I realized by making this particular symbol alone. Right in the center you can see the 0. Then you can see the expanded 0 of circle, of course sphere. Then you can say 9 points, and of course 10, 11, 12 I have shown. But anyway, in this series I am going to show you as we proceed in detail how it was unfolded. Then now let's start to the beginning of the universe as Akhand Bharat knows about it, or Sindhu Rashtra knows about it, or Bharat knows about it. And that's the only thing I'm making very clear. I realized the origin of the universe was called Nirakar Nirgun Brahman. Nirakar means formless, Nirgun means qualityless. It is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent universal consciousness, Atma, which is Brahman, is the first state to be done. And I understand Nirakar Nirgun Brahman is xenon inert matter only. This is the most unstable inert matter up to which 54th level we can perceive things. Beyond that, it's not humanly possible. So let me restrict myself to very clear. Right up to 54th element of xenon we can perceive, which plays a role within our body. And iodine is the one which is just before that as the last halogen, which has an important role in our physical body, which is connected with Lord Shiva, Neelkant, thyroid gland, and of course energy, which I am going to talk about as we move on with that. The next stage, as you say, xenon to understand, it has power of 54 electrons, 54 protons and 54 neutrons. It has power of 8 because everything is centered in the middle. 54 protons and neutrons is 108. And it is the fifth period. It has got inner 2, then 8 plus 8 plus 18 plus 18 is 54. That's amazing. First 3 have got 18 put together, second 18, third 18. That's it as a 54. Then 54 plus 54 plus 54 can be 162. And this is the beauty I realized when I started going around myself. Record. When I recorded up to 162 times, I experienced that. But I went on further to go on to 268 times. And I realized the entire universe is within us itself. As you churn it out, it's like a churning within my body. was amazing. Can you imagine? 70 years old man is going around standing on one side, having an equilibrium 268 times and feeling comfortable, and stops it, and he does not fall. But that is the churning of ocean which I have experienced within my body, and there it is my vertebral column which was the center of axis or equilibrium to maintain. That is something that's amazing, as you can see in this picture. The next one, which first manifestation from the origin, was Sakar Sargun Brahman. Sakar means you can see it, it's a potent. It has got the qualities. It is also Brahman. It is also the universal consciousness, Atma. And this matter is Krypton, which I also call it 108. This is second unstable inert matter, but it is possible to experience that within yourself, provided you are very conscious. And I can tell you, most of the people find it difficult to see three dimensions at the same time. Either see length and breadth, they can't see depth. But now technology has shown us three. But of course, Einstein talked about the fourth dimension of time and space. But I can see 10 plus dimensions within my eyes, including my RBCs, dancing like two things, and all the 10 dimensions I can see simultaneously in my eyes, as if my eyes are even more powerful than electron microscope itself. Now it's difficult for anybody to believe that a man can see 10 dimensions better than electrons within the eyes itself. It's something they'll have to reach my level to see it, because I've seen it, so I'm doing it. That's it. But of course, fact is I'm able to produce 8 Hz alpha frequency throughout the brain with eyes open, which no one in the world has ever done. DIVYANK is shown by me for the first time. I can produce 8 Hz frequency throughout the brain with eyes open, which is unimaginable by anybody else. It counters the neuroscience, but the fact is there. I've seen all that within my eye, and that is human body is capable of, and that is what I'm trying to make in Magaranth based on my experience of the core one, not of the divergent at all, not defective models. I'm a perfect physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, otherwise. Since I have reached that level because I wanted to be physically healthy, emotionally stable, intellectual, intuitive, and wise for the entire universe itself. And I think any human being who wants to be perfect will become perfect. It's our intention which is important. If your intention is for impeccable wisdom, we will get impeccable. But unfortunately, everybody believes that we are imperfect ones, though remain imperfect ones. I think my biggest problem with everybody was, they think they are imperfect ones, they continue to be imperfect, and they divide the world and enjoy the perishable things. Whereas I do believe I am perfect, so I enjoy the imperishable universal consciousness given me everything, including physical health, money, name, fame, everything is amazing. Once you go with universal consciousness, you get everything automatically. You don't have to save it because it's a part of it. And that I have been able to see because of this first manifestation. As a Sakar itself, I have been able to see. And that is Krypton. And I told you there are 36 protons, 36 electrons, 36 neutrons. So this power of 108 is very well in Krypton itself. You have 2 plus 8 plus 8 plus 18 is 36, is a beautiful part. Now I am going to show something which I realized why Sanatan Dharma or Akhand Bharat or Sindhu Rashtra talks about importance of 108. All Japamala of mantra is made of 108 C only, not 107, not 109. What is the significance of 108 with respect to the universal consciousness? Why our rishis talked of only 108? They did not talk of any other number. When it comes to the mantra, which is Shruti, this is Om or Gayatri mantra, is important. But here I am going to talk about it. Importance of 108. The Sun and Mother Earth, I am going to talk the relations of 108. Approximate distance between Sun and Earth is 150 million kilometers, and diameter of Sun is 1.3914 million kilometers. 150 divided by 1.3914 is equivalent to 108, and that is what it means. between Sun and Earth, 108 suns can easily fit in. Sun and Earth has 108 suns in between. That the distance is there. Is amazing. Second thing, you can another interesting in the same process is on Moon, the diameter of Moon is equivalent to 108 times the diameter of Earth itself. Sun is 108 times the size of Earth. Isn't it amazing? Between them, you can find 108 moons, but 108 Earths can be seen on the Sun itself. I thought that was amazing. Now, since Moon has come from Earth, and between Moon and Earth, 108 moons can easily fit in. This is what I have tried to explain here. Amazing. Now I am going to represent the mystery of 8. First, Sun and Earth, 108. Then Sun, 108 on top of it. Then Earth and Moon, 108 in between. That's a combination which is amazing. And I see the same combination in Kundalini chakras, nadis. Ida and Pingala and Sushumna are associated with Earth, Sun and Moon only. If Ida is with the Moon, Pingala is with Sun and Sushumna is balance Earth between the both of them, and this is the beauty which you're going to see as we proceed on. And you're going to see some other things which I'm going to show you, which makes me feel Yantra Vidya is the greatest knowledge to me, because each yantra had so much of wisdom. They were not murtis as such. They were full of mathematical design. Nobody seems to understand the beauty which is done by Akhand Bharat or Sindhu Rashtra to the world as such. No one, I want to bring it back and give the world. Knowledge came from here. Knowledge has to be like this if we want the universe to be united together with impeccable wisdom. If you are not interested, you can do whatever you want. But if you want, then this is the answer. Now, Akash Bhuta is a plasmatic state of the matter, a quintessence, which is produced with 1600 degrees state, and is energy matter which I am talking about. And energy has got 540 degree, and 5 into 108 is represented there too. Is it a coincidence? No, it's a divine design, because everything is made of 5 parts and each part is made of 108 and energy is 540. And this is not I am talking from my side, I am talking about what science talks about it, and I am making a symbol. And this is a symbol made for the first time in the history of mankind for Akash Bhuta, never been done by anybody in Akhand Bharat itself. That's also something credit should come to me. This is something which I have designed and said this is important. Now come to the third stage of Goddess Adi Prashakti, and I make it very clear. It is organ 40. Adi Prashakti has been given a lot of importance in Akhand Bharat. And she is the one, as you can see right there, in her lap you can see Brahma, Vishnu and Shiv being produced by her. She is the divine mother, mother of Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, is from Adi Prashakti organ, not Xenon and Krypton. They are concepts preparing for this, but Brahma, Vishnu and Shiv came from her. So is the Saraswati, Lakshmi and Parvati. Because Brahma and Saraswati are one combination, which I would call is with the knowledge. And Vishnu and Lakshmi are the one with money and Karma Yoga. Shiv and Parvati are the one for Bhakti Yoga, higher consciousness and knowledge. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Gyan Yoga, all the three things put together become very important, and those that is called Trinity, which we see with Adi Prashakti as such. Now to understand Adi Prashakti better, let's move on to the next stage of explaining what is Adi Prashakti by and large. As you can see, she is the divine mother of Mahabrahman, and Mahabrahman is the universe beyond spiral galaxy or Milky Way. I am talking of the entire universe. As you can see the picture and the bottom left side is Mahagrah. It is not a spiral galaxy. It is not a Milky Way. It is not solar system. It is not a human being. It's beyond Milky Way. And that has got 18 dimensions. Let's take it that it is 18. And the picture you can see is ancient picture with 18 arms. That means there are 18 electrons, 18 protons, and I would say you have by and large 22 neutrons there. That's why it becomes argon 40. That the third stage of manifestation is only argon 40 with 18 electrons and 22 neutrons and 18 protons as such the journey. Let's 18 plus 18 plus 22 is 78 is the power. Now I want to show that even symbols or graphic presentation should be made perfect. If Adi Parashakti has got that 18 arms, 9 on each side, this is Lord Shiva's design, which comes from Dakshin Bharat, dancing thing, but there is a light 18 times here, 17 outside, 1 in the left hand. So this is how it should be. I do see statues of dancing Shiva with more lights than 18. That is defective. That kind of knowledge we should not encourage at all. And also you can see snake in this particular thing, which talks about Ida, Pingla and Sushmana. We'll get into detail when we come to that particular stage. But now I'm going to show that was Dakshin Bharat. Now I'm going to the North Bharat in Kashmir. Spandan Krika was given by commission that everything is in spiral form. I'm talking about Sartaj of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh, and not separating Jammu from Kashmir or Ladakh. I think all the things are one part. And that's it, because I see Katra with Mata Vaishno Devi in Trikuta mountains. I also see Shivakoti temple. I also see other places in Jammu region and also in Kashmir region, because all were together and right up to Ladakh and Sindhu were integrated part of universal consciousness, which at a higher level. So let me make it very clear. Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh are three integrated parts. Right at the topmost part are the core, which it is. And this picture comes from there. And in this picture you can see the snake on top has got 7 heads. That means it represents the brain, and there are 7 layers of neocortex which has to be activated completely. And that's the beauty which I am talking about. And particularly the outer 3 layers, neocortex 1, 2 and 3, no scientist in the world even knows what its function is. But I know I've been able to see. I've been able to see all the 7 and also see that Ida and Pingla and Sushmana are the one in snake form. They're intertwining with each other, and this is the beauty you can see here. Right at the bottom you have Pingla on right side and Ida on one side and Sushmana in the middle, and you can see intertwining thing. This is a beautiful structure which ancient Indian people who were masters in Tantra Vidya, and that came from Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Kailash also gave that, but more than that, the information was given in Adi Prash, what is Amarnath. When I went there as a child, I could see all the beauty over there. And no wonder I am able to talk of all the 108 sutras of Akhand Tantra Vidya, which Lord Shiva taught to Parvati to become perfect in every way. And that is Spandan Krika I am talking about. It is not Kashmir alone. It is there in Katra also. It is there in Amarnath. It is there in Kailash. It is there in everything, and that part is Suksham Sharira. You can talk about it. And Dakshin, of course, you can talk about more of a graphic presentation, and that is of spiral. That's it. Now come to the next stage. 4th level is Goddess Gayatri, which gave the power of 10.344. It is 10 plus dimensions, not less than that. It is not 7 chakras. It is 10.34 chakra. 10 chakras important, but you talk about 10. And those are the 10 things you can see in her arms. There are 10 arms and 5 heads. Panchabhutas are Lord Shiva, 10 arms of Vishnu, Dasavatar, and of course the lotus is a representation of Brahma. So Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh or Shiva All the three can be seen in Gayatri picture, and it has got the power of neon 21. That means electrons are 10, protons are 10, but neutrons are 11. But this is where I see the beauty of sun again rising. You see the sun picture. You have 20, North Pole becomes South Pole in 11 years, and North Pole becomes North Pole again in 11 years. That is what it is all about. That is 11 neutrons which I am talking about. That's it. Then we see how the creation of the universe took place. I do agree with Big Bang, but what is the material in Big Bang to start with? It was not anything other than isomers and neon 21 only. Neon 21 plus neon 21 collided together to form the light, effulgence, brilliant thing. And that was neon 22. And we settled on over part to become neon 20 as such, I have already explained. And then from there 10 stages came, 10 stage development and came. But and this particular thing I was explaining again. After the creation of the universe, Lord Brahma took rest for 1.5 years. And I see that beauty in modern science. Sperm and ovum get together to produce zygote, and they take rest for 1.5 days before dichotomous division start taking place in zygote. That is beauty which I am going to explain. I have already explained, but now as a sequence also I'll go, and to come to that stage we'll talk about it. Then after all this information that human body was created, Lok Palan was created, and I had realized the beauty of Lord Brahma's 22 by 21 as a child itself. And of course Vishnu, the 10 stages of development was done very clearly in the beginning itself within my physical body as such. I did not have much of a difficulty of experiencing the, and no wonder in my first book on Akhand and universal consciousness, I already shown a DIVYANK rectangle where 22 by the 21 to the power of 10 was very clear. What is the next number was not clear in 2002, and that is the mystery left at that stage. From 2002 book to 2014 and 15, another 12, 14, 13 years, I realized DIVYANK and completed as a 0.34419. That was beautiful. That is something which I realized as a young student. Now, the real Shivank, the third stage of maturation as 0.34419, I recognized in 2014. By the time I had found the DIVYANK rectangle has 100 into 161.0034, and that I had developed based on Sthapana Brahmana or Pythagorean theorem as India does it. And with that I have already explained. I would be again explaining when I come to that stage of development of the universal consciousness. I had designed that. Having known the number as 1.618034, then finding these 5 digits was not at all very challenging, but it had to be worked out. Then with the help of my friend Professor Govindarajulu, we sat with IBM SPS. I put that number which I had already seen, then put 22 by 21 to the power of that, then started looking what is the digits which will give that number one by one. And I'm glad that modern technology made it much easier for both of us to find that number when we were consciously preparing for that. So that way modern technology equipments which we have today are phenomenal. For that matter, making my videos in the beginning to 22 minutes SD was a difficult job. Now I'm making 60, 70, 75 minutes, even more than that I can make with 4K effortlessly in one shot without any difficulty. Why? Because modern technology has given me Apple Macintosh with a RAM of 32 GB. With 32 GB, each video which I am making is more than 10 GB. And I'm sure time will come that we'll go for 64 GB, maybe much more than that. And in that, the kind of thing which we can do will be phenomenal. So that way, modern technology, based on that, I have hats off. I'm not finding fault with that. My fine fault is only with the human anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, and perfect objects with DIVYANK. Other than that, I am not at all touching. Now they come to consider descent of elements. They were all produced in the universe, and we can say all the gods and goddesses Vedas represent different atoms, elements, molecules, and compounds of the universal consciousness as such. And Indra is the king of gods. He represents water and rain. So that's where Amrit is water, and it's the thing which things came down. When their things came down on the earth, as a result, the atmosphere of earth, which was also 97% carbon dioxide, with the plant kingdom converted into oxygen 21%, nitrogen 78%, and others came down. But this is all in Vedas itself, Rig Veda itself. And that is the beauty. I can see the creation of a perfect human being in I3 Upanishad is much more classified, perfect than modern mathematicians, gynecologists, obstetricians can even dream of a perfect human being. I got better knowledge from I3 Upanishad and Rig Veda to complete my job. I am going to show when I come to that stage and say how the modern science is so defective. They don't even know the perfect female menstrual cycle itself. Forget about anything else. One man, Shiv Bhushan Sharma, challenged the entire educational system that your design of female menstrual cycle is defective. And I have shown it. I am going to show as we proceed with that. And all the biological life started in warm waters of ocean is something which every scientist talk, and I also talk about it. Because you needed warm water, you needed glucose, you needed sodium, you need chloride, you need water, and all that came from sea, and all requirements and things were put into that. That is the process which is there in Sagar Manthan or Samundar Manthan, a churning of ocean, which I told you I went around was like a churning of myself. As a result, I think I've been able to experience churning of Sagar Manthan much better thereafter. I have not talked of that in detail, what I've done after that experience myself. Now from that point, as I told you, we come to the Trinity. Three things are very important. So as far as the first atoms are concerned, which are very important, is hydrogen, carbon and oxygen only. Hydrogen is like Aditya, the basic element. Carbon is for biological and oxygen is for Agni, the fire. And helium is the indelible cell. Let's leave that apart. The three inorganic molecules which are very important in the universal consciousness to start the process of inorganic chemistry. The molecular level, it was water on one side which has power of 10, 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen as 10. Then second thing which was important was methane with 1 carbon and 4 hydrogen to make it methane, which has also power. Third thing which was very important was carbon dioxide, which has got a protons of 22. So you come to DIVYANK again, 10 plus 22. And that is the trinity which I am talking about in the divine periodic table as such. Of course, the water I have already explained. I am not going to talk about here because I already explained many times earlier in this series itself. Then methane I have already explained. I am not going to go to details of this. Then I am going to explain methane plus oxygen put together is formed carbon dioxide and water to start with, and both the things came down from universal consciousness to earth. All the 4 inner planets between sun, which is a core, and asteroid belt, which is a division. The inner planets, all the 4 of them had carbon dioxide only, including earth. As you can see in this particular picture, 3 have got yellow orange color, but earth does not have, because oxygen to start with was 97%. Now it is being converted into oxygen 21 and nitrogen 27, as the color has become blue rather than the orange or yellow, which you said 3 other things. It is only because of the plant kingdom things have changed, and that's it. Now genesis of biochemistry started with plant kingdom only. As I've shown about this Kapil Vriksh, to start with, as I realized as a child, Roots were the universal consciousness as it fell. When it fell down, then became a plant. That's where the biology started once again. Upside roots became downside roots and up trees. And that is where synthesis of plant came as the first process. Conversion of atom, element, molecules and compounds, which was created earlier, they took the compound form in plant kingdom only. The first thing which was created was plant kingdom, not animals. Elements came down in earth. From there the unicellular organisms were born. And unicellular organisms were born where the biological start. The first one which was born was plant kingdom. Second is the animal kingdom. So this particular video starts now that plant kingdoms, unicellular organisms by and large are spores. Plant kingdom spores, and that is what it is. Now plant kingdom picture, I am not going to go into detail of this. Asexual reproduction, I have already told you, they were without seeds, under the ground, and seeds were created later, I have already explained. Then in this particular thing you can see procreation of without asexual reproduction right at the bottom. But of course as we move you see the fruit which is female and the male bud you can see on top, from which sexual reproduction starts thereafter. And of course I have shown that photosynthesis, as from top you can see carbon dioxide and water came down, then plant converted them to carbohydrate and oxygens. And in the human cells, carbon dioxide, glucose plus oxygen was taken to convert into carbon dioxide and water, and that was done primarily to maintain the equilibrium on the earth of carbon dioxide and oxygen for the procreation. So atoms, elements, molecules, then plant kingdom, then animal kingdom, and thereby the whole drama of divine nature is seen only on earth. You don't see on other planets because they have carbon dioxide, they don't have oxygen 21 which is a part of DIVYANK, they don't have nitrogen 78%, they don't have the process which is conducive for photosynthesis in plant kingdom and sexual reproduction of animal kingdom to that say. So asexual to sexual in plant kingdom to animal moved on there, and that is the impeccable wisdom I am talking about, and equilibrium is maintained very well. Now come to the question of coming to spores. Spore is a reproductive cell, make it very clear, is a single unicellular reproductive, is capable of developing a new individual cell without fusion with another reproductive cell. That's one thing very clear. Spore is a unicellular organism, reproductive cell. It can develop into new individual cell, again single, unicellular, without a reproduction with another thing. Spores are thus differ from gametes. Gametes are the one which have sexual reproduction. They produce cells that must fuse in pairs to give rise to a new individual. That is diploid type. This is haploid type. Spores agents are asexual reproduction. That's why I'm making it very clear. It's asexual reproduction, where gametes and agents of sexual reproduction are not there. Spores are produced by bacteria, fungi, algae and plants. And let me stick to this only for plant kingdom. But they found in bacteria also, fungus also, algae, everything. That is one thing which is very clear. Asexual reproduction, unicellular organism. I am making it very clear. It's a unicellular organism. Second thing, among the fungi, now we talk about the fungi. Spores serve a function analogous to that of seeds in plants. Now, what plants, seeds do is spores themselves do in fungus itself. Produced and released by specialized fruiting bodies such as edible portion of the familiar mushrooms, fungal spores germinate and grow into new individuals under suitable conditions of moisture. Again, I am making it very clear. You need water for development. Without water, you cannot have life at all. That's why the water content has to be 61.0034% on earth, body and cells. And you should have a temperature also of 37 degrees. And the food availability of the ingredients available should be adequate. Nothing is built without a root cause, and that is what you can see in fungus, and how you have fungus we can eat together as mushrooms itself. Then many algae, particularly green algae, play a very important role. They're a very good source of proteins as well as other things. They are spores for spores and are also capable of sexual reproduction also. Several red algae produce specific monospores that are carried by water current and form a new organism. I am talking about red. Some green algae produce non-motile spores called epispores, where others produce motile zoospores which lack true cell walls and bear one or more flagella. And flagella allows zoospores to swim to a favorable environment in which to develop, whereas monospores and also rely on passive transport by water current. And this is the beauty of algae, both red as well as green. And I have used green algae for protein great synthesis as well as vitamin B12 and B complex sources. Fantastic. Then among the seed bearing plants, the gymnosperms and angiosperms become two. Gymnos is the female, angio is a male. Their haploid spores are far less conspicuous. They are not released from the parent plant, but rather they germinate into microscopic gametophytes individuals that are entirely dependent upon the diploid sporophyte plant. Gymnosperms and have two kinds. Microspores give rise to male emetophytes and mega produce female. This again shows the female size is bigger than the male size, and that's why in DIVYANK the male is 38.1966% and female is 61.803. Even in these kinds you see the same thing as such. Then these are the pictures which I show about how a spore looks like. You have annulus, you have spore, you have lip cell, you have stalk. Of course, you have the germination in this process. You can see how Encyclopedia Britannica picture itself talks about it, how the whole process is starts from sperm, middle right on top, then goes on and finally comes to the flower and spores come out again. Is a beautiful thing how spores are finally converted into gametes and again spores, and the process continues. And this is by Encyclopedia Britannica, beautiful picture. Thanks to them, they have done a wonderful job, and I say this is amazing. Now this picture again is amazing in the whole process, how the conversion takes place, how spores look like. Now in this picture also I show how the process is converted spores into formation of spore, how asexual becomes sexual by and large. But let me tell you, spores by themselves have only triplets in there, and some have a tetrad, but they are all one with the three inside. Similarly, as you see an atom has the electron, protons and neutrons, similarly in spores you have a triangle which represents three sides only. And that is where I have been saying from the very beginning, one has three parts inside, and that's it. As I told you, carbon, hydrogen and oxygen to start with, methane, water and carbon dioxide. Similarly here also you same thing, and that is the beauty which we have to understand, that nature does not change the pattern at all. But we should not confuse unnecessarily with ideas which are man-made concepts, which I see in modern mathematics, physics, chemistry and other sciences, which man's ideas is superimposed, not divine ideas, which is true with DIVYANK. Now there comes the question of how they are firmly converted into thing in lycopodium itself. There you have sporophyte 1, spongium, gamma and other things, how they produce further and go on. And this is something which I am not going to detail. It's just as part are angiosperms and gametosperms move on as such. Then how things further convert into how roots take place, how things take place, how go about it, We are going to see more of it as we proceed thereafter in going to the next stage of development from plant kingdom to animal kingdom. But this is also a picture you can see very clearly. Right on top you have sorus and then spores. Spongygamy, spores you can see right on top, and how the structure comes, how they go through the stage of asexual to bisexual, and how things are done. This is also another picture which I thought was very good in fern issue. And having done that, I think we have come to the stage we understand now how the nature has unfolded universal consciousness step by step, and all is mathematically conclusive, no confusion at all. Once we understand the divine mathematics, then understand things, you will have no difficulty. You are going to see this one by one along with a similar thing which will be more like assessments and move on to the next stage. And of course finally we come to this stage which is complete by itself. You have seen the glimpses through. We are going to see more glimpses as we build this Mahagranth to go the stage and next stage. I think that's enough for the day. Thank you very